Elderwood Grove was a secluded and isolated facility nestled deep within the dense forests of Blackwood County. It served as a sanctuary for those society had forgotten, a haven for individuals with disabilities and special needs. However, it held a sinister secret that would chill even the bravest. Located amidst towering trees and perpetually shrouded in mist, Elderwood Grove had been designed to provide care and solace to those in need. Its sprawling complex consisted of cottages, each dedicated to a different group of residents, each resident facing their own unique set of challenges. Among the cottages, one was known as Willow House, home to a group of residents with profound disabilities. They were unable to communicate in conventional ways, their thoughts imprisoned within their own bodies. For years, the devoted caregivers of Elderwood Grove had worked tirelessly to provide love and care to these residents, striving to offer them a life filled with dignity. Yet, as day turned to night, a malevolent presence began to manifest within Willow House. It began with subtle disturbances, an unexplainable chill in the air, objects moving of their own volition, and an eerie, almost tangible sense of foreboding that hung in the atmosphere. Caregivers initially dismissed these occurrences as mere quirks of an old building. As time passed, however, the disturbances escalated. Caregivers reported hearing faint whispers in the dead of night, voices that seemed to beckon from the shadows. Residents in Willow House, incapable of verbal communication, conveyed their fear through frantic gestures and terror-filled expressions. On one fateful night, Sarah, a compassionate caregiver with a heart as vast as the forest that surrounded them, decided to investigate the source of these unsettling events. Armed with a flashlight and an unwavering determination, she entered Willow House after lights out. As she traversed the dimly lit hallways, an increasing sense of dread gnawed at her. Shadows seemed to shift of their own accord, and the whispers grew louder. Sarah's heart raced as she arrived at the communal room where the residents slumbered. There, she witnessed it, a shadowy figure towering and menacing, hovering over one of the residents' beds. The figure turned to face her, its eyes vacant voids of darkness. Sarah's scream pierced the silence as she fled in terror. Other caregivers rushed to her side, but when they entered Willow House, there was no trace of the shadowy figure. The residents, trapped in their own worlds, could only express their fear through the terror etched upon their faces. The haunting of Willow House persisted, its malevolent presence growing stronger with each passing night. Residents grew increasingly agitated, and caregivers reported an overwhelming sense of hopelessness and despair. Desperate for answers, Sarah delved into the history of Elderwood Grove and uncovered a horrifying truth. The facility had been constructed on land that once housed a nightmarish asylum, a place of unspeakable cruelty and suffering. The spirits of the asylum's tormented inmates had never found peace and had latched onto the vulnerable souls within Willow House. Sarah and the caregivers faced an impossible decision to abandon the residents and flee from the malevolent forces that plagued Willow House, or to confront the vengeful spirits and uncover the truth behind their suffering. Their choice would thrust them into a nightmarish battle between the living and the dead, testing their faith and courage to the limits. Elderwood Grove stood as a place of both refuge and terror, a sanctuary for society's marginalized, and a battleground for the spirits of the past. Sarah and her fellow caregivers would discover that the bonds of compassion and the strength of the human spirit were potent weapons against the forces of darkness, that some curses were not easily broken, and the path to redemption was fraught with peril.